camera. There we go. How's it going, everyone? It is I, PC, and I'm here with Classical Mike.
The classically trained Mark.
The trained Mark. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I always get your name wrong. I'm sorry. It's
No
been
worries.
a long time.
It has been a while.
Yes.
But let's not go so long next time. Let's keep in touch.
I understand. Yeah. I mean, I was busy. I mean, I just got off work and my computer started messing up on me, and well, here we are. So what have you been up to?
Just planning episode 3.
Episode 3 of Metrotham Con.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, actually. I'm super excited for this year. We got a lot of cool things planned for this year.
Oh yeah.
That'll be much improved over last year. So,
which last year was good. I had a great time last year. Like, meeting all the guests and, just interacting with everybody. I made a video about that, my experience at Metrotham Con. And, I mean, honestly, like, I just had a great time. Everything was organized great. And, like, your staff was on top of everything.
Yeah, my staff is amazing. They're kind of the backbone to everything. And I think I mentioned that in the previous show that we did together. I couldn't do it without them. I'm super thankful. They're great.
So I guess what are we gonna expect for this year though?
So just to kind of give you a little lowdown here.
Okay.
As I share this link out here.
What's up, Paranoid DJ? Yeah, might as well show the chat.
Yeah. Show the chat some love. Let me post this real quick. Yeah.
Miss Echo Geek said hi, Mark.
How's it going? All right.
You can share if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to create a post here and share.
All right.
Get some people on here. But no, I mean, this year we got another year under our belt. And this year's 80's theme. So, of course, we're going to have a lot of the 80's aesthetic. So we're going to focus heavily on music because that's the generation of MTV. So there'll be a lot of musical aspects to our show this year.
Oh yeah.
Including some live performances. One of the performances that we'll have is Jennifer Seehee, one of our guests, who's the voice of Sailor Moon. For all those anime fans. We'll be doing the Power of Love concert. So that's a nice little thing there for anybody that attends. That's for VIPs only.
VIPs only.
So this year we're doing a little something extra for our VIPs by having special events that they can attend.
Right.
So and that's one of them. And I'm going to pull up kind of our entertainment and programming that we've got planned. So yeah, we got the Power of Love concert with Jennifer Seehee, VIPs only. We'll have Radio Cult back performing live on stage. We will have the Breakfast Club Maid Cafe. It's like an 80's themed maid cafe. That's put on by La Petite. They'll be doing multiple shows throughout the weekend. So be sure you get in on that. We'll have our lip sync battle, 80's edition. That's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I watched that last year. I think I think it was either a karaoke or a lip sync one.
Yeah.
And of course the Smash tournament you guys had, that was awesome too. You still got you still gonna do that or no?
Yeah, we'll definitely have a Smash tournament. We'll have some retro 8-bit gaming since it is the 80's.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I got the original Smash, but I also got some
Nice.
80s stuff too. I mean, I got Fat Xanadu. Great NES
Oh, that's
game.
awesome.
It's a great
Yeah.
NES game. But yeah, I love 80s stuff. Like anything from like the late 80s to early 90s. You know, I'm a huge mark for that because that's what I grew up on.
Same. And in all reality, that's kind of what started pop culture as we know it today,
Oh yeah.
right? That was the catalyst, and that's why we are where we are today with Marvel and Star Wars and DC and all those properties being juggernauts in the industry. The 80s really set all that stuff off.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of going down the list. So we got the lip sync battle 80s edition. We got a lot. This is new to this year, and this is going to be so much fun. We'll have live action Mario Kart racing.
Oh, live action.
I have actual go-karts, and they'll have Mario sticker. You can be Yoshi, Donkey Kong, etc. And there'll be live action Mario Kart racing.
Miss Echo Geek said she grew up on 80s music.
Well, then you will probably love one of our guests that we have not announced yet. So, TBD.
Can you throw a little hint? A little hint, not a big one.
I had planned on a little bit later in our conversation. I'll give you a hint on a different guest.
Okay.
The hint will be pretty easy to pick up on. I think you get it. So we've got the live action Mario Kart racing. That's going to be a ton of fun.
Oh yeah.
We got to catch them all. Pokemon hunt for the kids. And kids 12 and under get in free to our show. We got a Dragon Ball scavenger hunt. That's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody can participate in that and win some prizes.
Yeah, Dragon Ball was part of the 80s too.
It was.
Yeah.
And basically what we'll do is I've got, 7 Dragon Balls about that size each one. And we'll kind of hide them throughout, and you just go on a scavenger hunt, and you take a picture. If you find a Dragon Ball, if you find all 7, you get to choose from 3 different items, so you can choose a wish essentially, or make a wish. And then we've got I want my MTV karaoke. So that's our karaoke.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we'll have that
MTV.
Friday.
I remember that.
Yeah, we'll have that Friday and Saturday night, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Anybody can, kind of participate. There's just so much programming this year that we're going to have in comparison. It's going to be amazing. We've got our the Dark Crystal Ball after party that's on Saturday night. We got Flash Dance Friday night, which is one of our after parties. We got back to the 80s burlesque show, if that's your thing. So as you can see, everything's kind of tailored to the 80s. So it's just going to be a blast. We've got tabletop gaming, console gaming, cosplay contests, all kinds of good stuff. And we've kind of revamped our website as well. So if you guys check it out, there's a lot of new stuff.
Is the ticket still $20 for the whole weekend?
Yeah, it is. And that's something, again, just being in that COVID era. Still, unfortunately, some of it's still going on. We just want to pass along the savings to everybody and make it affordable, and $20 is a steal, especially for the quality of show that we're going to.
Yeah,
he said, "What was it?" I
was gonna read some of these comments. Yeah. I was born in the mid-90s and grew up in the early 2000s, but my cousins introduced me to 80s music and games as well. And tell a Faz man, although I'm growing up in the 2000s, I'm pretty much an 80s kid.
Yeah.
And Miss Echo Geek said, I'm already finished one costume and working on my second. Oh boy. I mean, hopefully, nice. I really enjoyed last year. Everything was just organized, and I feel like though, I think a lot of it, like there's just so much that you're putting out there, and I like that.
Yeah.
You know, being able to get everybody involved in something, even if you're not really into a lot of stuff. You know, you're trying to bring variety into it, and
Right.
you know, I guess I mean I think like last year was like it. I don't know if you guys can really top last year because it was just so much fun. Like it was horror
What?
themed, and you know
Right.
you had people dressed like. Hopefully, I mean I want to see some horror guests. You got to have horror guests. More horror guests. Come on.
I mean, I love horror. That's something I've
That's what
always
I
liked to
was.
work
I
on
was sort of
in
getting
Halloween.
into here. Was like, you know, I wish that you guys had more horror guests.
Yeah. And I mean, if you kind of look at it, 80s are kind of synonymous with horror as well. That's when the slasher genre
Yeah, get Kane
started.
Hoarder.
So, yeah. So I mean, you never know that there's the
Yeah.
possibilities are limitless as far as guests and stuff goes. You know, but like I said, I'm a huge fan of horror, and that's kind of why we
Yeah.
wanted to do a horror themed show. And it transitions nicely into the 80s and then
Hmm.
next year's 90s. So we're doing the 90s decade next year.
Oh, I
But I
can't wait
mean,
for the '90s. I mean, yeah, I
I'm
was
looking
born in
forward to Frank
'92,
stuff. Okay.
so that's
But
my jam right there.
But at our last show, you know, you had a pretty special moment. I got to see that. You know, I watched your video. That was pretty awesome, and I'm glad you're able to come out and have that experience, especially with your family, right?
Yeah, my
Um,
mom.
and and that's kind of why, you know, that's my passion of doing this stuff is to bring people together and create that family atmosphere and that
Hmm.
vibe, even if you're not blood relatives, right? It feels like family. It feels
Hmm.
like home. You feel like you're a part of something, and that's the ultimate. That's why we put so much into this and are trying to grow it, you know, year after year, and adding more content and getting better celebrity guests and, you know, giving bigger prizes
Yeah,
for tournaments and cosplay contests. Like this year, our cosplay contest, best in show, it's $1,000 cash prize. Like that's huge.
that is
Um,
huge.
you know, that could pay somebody's mortgage and car payment.
Right.
You know, that's, you know, those are things that we're trying to give back to the community, the convention community. So
And speaking of giving back, you know, I wanna make this announcement. I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway for someone to get the chance to go who want to go. Like, if you really want to go to Metrotham Con, I'm willing to buy your ticket to go if you really want to go. But I'm gonna set up a contest for that. Like I'm gonna have like some sort of random raffle or something like that.
can I add to that? Let me
Sure.
do one. Let me add a little bit to that for your contest. Okay, I'll automatically upgrade it to a VIP, and they will get a chance to get a free autograph from this incredible guest who you will be green with envy to meet. Right.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave you a little bit of a hint. An incredible guest who you'll be green with envy to meet. So I'm not going to officially announce it or anything like that, but yeah, I'll up that. So whoever wins that, we'll upgrade them to the VIP, and they'll get a free autograph from said celebrity.
Telefazman said, "Where is it at? I want to know just in case if I come later on in life." It's in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yep,
Uh, at the Chattanooga Convention Center,
that's correct.
which that is a big place.
It is, and kind of our hopes is to expand and fill up the whole thing.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what you were telling me before.
yeah, I think by, you know, probably by year 5 we can do something pretty close to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
I mean, so yeah, if you I'm gonna probably announce it when it gets closer to time. But I mean that's what I hope to do. I want to give back to my community as well as Metrotham Con's community as well. So if you guys are desperate to want to go to this event because you don't want to miss it. I mean, it's it's one big event. I mean, it's a 3-day event. And not only that, here's the thing. $20 for 3 days. That's a deal. That's a steal right there. You get 3 days with guests, celebrities that you probably recognize, you may not even recognize, but my God, there's just so much. I mean, for $20,
just for the content alone, just for the programming and the live music that you're going to get.
Yeah.
With the maybe the 80s pop star that might be there. Just the $20 is well worth it.
Oh yeah.
To get into a 3-day show. It's May 13th through the 15th.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's jam packed with stuff going on all 3 days. So you definitely don't want to miss it.
Oh no. So okay, let's I don't want to just jump right into the guests, that you're going to invite. I mean, we already know one of them. Well, actually 2 of them. Let me pull that up real quick. I gotta pull up your website.
So as far as guests, we've got so far that I've announced, it's Jennifer Seehey, the voice of Sailor Moon. And then Carrie Means, who's the voice of Frylock. Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. And then you go to, we've got Sam De La Rosa, who is a Marvel artist. He's worked a lot on Venom and Carnage. So that's another guest that we've announced. We've also announced our featured artist, who is Adam Sanford, who's done our artwork for this year. And I don't know if you've seen him.
I've met him before.
Yeah, he's. I don't know if you can share your screen or whatever, but
I might be able to.
Let me see. If I can.
Share screen. I think I can only. Hang on. Let me bring this over to this screen here. There we go. It paused the video. There we go. Can you see it?
Let's see. Oh yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to fix this so that way we can both see it. All right.
Let's see it.
This is all the guests: Jennifer Seehey, Carrie Means, and
that's kind of that's our past alum guest that we've had.
Josh Martin.
And if you go to the guest list and go to like artists
and authors. Yep.
And that's where you'll find Sam De La Rosa. And then there's
Adam De La Rosa, Adam Sanford, Stephanie DeLeo.
She's an author.
Brandy Hancock. She's a good photographer. She's really good. I saw some of her stuff. It's really good.
Yeah.
And I think she said she had some slots open. If you're going to be cosplaying, I mean, and you want to, you want a good photographer, Brandy's good. She's really good.
She'll be there. She's our official photographer, so she'll be there the whole
really
weekend.
Good. She's good at what she does.
Also, if you go into the shop there, that's our updated shop. This is kind of new to the shop. We got our Revenge of the 80s t-shirt in the shop. I just got a huge shipment in of them. We got our 3-day pass for $20. VIPs on sale for $40. And then you could always still do the Metrotham Con Forever for $200. And that gets you lifetime VIP membership to the convention. And I mean, that's a great deal as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, you'll get to go to all the conventions. I mean,
and then you get that VIP VIP access and a special extra. Yep, it is a steal.
And I
And
think
that
you
there you see the
also.
T-shirt.
Yep.
The T-shirt's $20, and
Yep.
it comes in multiple sizes. So we got some for everyone, and we'll also have T-shirts. You see that the artwork there on the 3-day VIP admission. That artwork is from Adam Sanford, and it will be on a T-shirt that will be available to purchase as well.
Miss Echo Geek said, "I've got my forever pass."
Awesome.
Nice.
That's all.
But it like you don't want to miss any of their conventions. You really don't, because they're always fun, and you, like you said, it's like having a family,
Right.
and you feel that in that type of environment, and that's what I love about it.
Right. And
And
that's
I
something
mean,
that you
yeah.
don't get from the bigger conventions, right? Like they lose that vibe and that family
Mhm.
atmosphere. It
Yeah.
was really cool. When you introduced me to your mom, and it was nice to meet her and to
Yeah.
see you guys out there having a good time. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
That
And my mom, she appreciates everything you've done, for us to have a good experience. And, you know, I think it's a moment that she's never going to forget.
right, and that's why I mean, this journey, you build all kinds of memories along the way that you'll keep with you forever, and that's another beautiful aspect of it.
Hmm.
Is you could just cherish it, and it can help with low points in your life, because you can call back on those positive memories and just kind of get through it. So that's a huge reason of why I do it. Just to be honest, it's those moments that's why we live to do this stuff.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you guys have been doing this for what now? 3 years now? This will be
This will
three
be our
years.
third year. We got a little delayed, with the COVID year having to cancel. So essentially, we've been doing it for almost 4 years, but it's our third show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't imagine, what a bummer it was to not be able to do that first show.
Yeah. I mean, just because you plan for a year and you promote it and put a lot of work into it, and then you got to cancel it. Um,
She's here. Yep.
how's it
Everybody's
going?
here.
Yep.
What are you
I hope it's
drinking?
okay. So it's some white Zen. It's very
White
good
Zen.
wine. So after a long day of work, that's kind of a nice thing to come home to and sip
Oh,
on and
yeah.
relax and
I'm
have good
drinking a Code
conversation.
Red.
Nice. Code Red is now one of those classics. I remember Surge was a thing.
Oh
I
my
don't know if you
gosh. I
remember
think I
Surge.
think my gas station still sells it.
Really?
Yeah.
That stuff was full of
Yep.
sugary goodness.
Hmm. And you probably remember, I think it was called Clear Pepsi, Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah. 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 And then they had the new Coke that came out in the 80s, which was terrible.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean that's trial and error. Yo, what's going on? Hope y'all are doing all right this evening.
Oh yeah. So everything. So like one of the things I really liked about last year was the sets and everything, all the displays you had, like all the
Yeah,
inflatable Halloween stuff, like sort of like it sort of felt like it was October in
right.
in in April.
Yeah.
So are we gonna get sort of the same type of thing this year? Like, are we gonna get like 80s type of vibe, like with the
You'll
set?
definitely so there'll definitely be 80s music playing. There's going to be 80s decor throughout. A lot of our just kind of aesthetic and signage for the convention will kind of be 80s driven as well. So yeah, it'll kind of feel like you're in the 80s,
Oh
blast from the
yeah.
past.
Oh yeah. I mean, you were born in the 80s, weren't you?
I was born in 83. Yep.
83.
Hmm.
So, like, what was it like though for you to grow up in the 80s?
So what I remember most fondly about the 80s was, Saturday morning cartoons. You
Yes,
had the real Ghostbusters. There was
TMNT.
TMNT. Thundercats were around. He-Man, Voltron, just GI Joe, Transformers, like all these huge properties that were
Hmm.
born in and from the 80s. And they're still so relevant today.
Yeah.
And then all the amazing 80s music, Michael Jackson, Madonna,
Hmm.
all the hair bands, 80s hip hop like Run
Skid
DMC.
Row,
Man, it's just there was
Guns N'
literally
Roses. You had so much in the 80s. Like, I wish that was the era I was born, but unfortunately, I was born in 92.
right. Well, I mean, close. A lot of the 80s kind of held up, ran into the early 90s.
Yeah.
Um,
You also had
and
Nintendo, you had Sega, you had,
right,
a lot of important
you had
things like,
the console wars,
yeah, the console wars.
Nintendo and Sega, they were battling it out. And that
Genesis
one,
does what Nintendo don't. You
right.
remember that commercial?
I do. We recently on our live show that we do every Monday on Facebook, we talked about some
Hmm.
of the older Nintendo games and the
Alter
console wars.
Beast on
Yeah.
Genesis. You had
Yep.
Super Mario Brothers 3, which was the best NES
That's my
game.
favorite. That's probably my favorite NES game. I wouldn't say favorite game of all time. That probably goes to Final Fantasy VII. But Super Mario 3 is right there. It's
My
so
favorite NES game is Zelda, The Legend of Zelda,
yeah.
and also Atari. I also liked playing Atari games.
What was that game on Atari with the tanks? I
Combat.
remember Combat. I remember playing that game all the time. That and Pitfall.
Yep.
You know,
Combat, Pitfall, Combat 2, which is
yeah,
even better.
yeah.
Uh, I think Space Invaders,
Space Invaders.
Donkey Kong, the original
Yeah,
arcade Donkey Kong,
right.
Ultima, the Ultima series,
I even like Pong, to be honest with
Pong.
you.
You remember all the Pong consoles that came out? Like, all the
Yeah,
different ones?
yeah,
Like,
I
there's
remember.
one that my friend has. It has like a steering wheel, it had a driving game, and then he had one that was actually made by Nintendo.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Mhm.
you got a lot of stuff, going on in the 80s.
Yeah.
But, like,
And
I'm hoping,
80s is kind of when,
yeah.
we used to call it, Japanimation, but that's kind of
Yep.
when anime started coming to the States here, and it became very,
Angel Cop,
yeah, the original Dragon Ball, like you said, and then it kind
Gundam.
of Gundam, um, even like was I don't know if Robotech was an anime per se, but it had that aesthetic to it. It had a
Hmm.
Gundam aesthetic to it, and it was in the 80s. And it was a nice transition. It led us into the Tanami era when anime really kind of took over. With Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z, and then it's just been nonstop since then. It's anime kind of rules the world currently,
Oh yeah,
especially in our
it was
realm.
back then. It was like a niche genre, like you had to be either a hardcore weeb
Yeah,
or you just had to be someone that was just into animation, like cartoons, like when I was a kid, that's what they always called them, like cartoons,
yeah,
even though we knew that they were from Japan, anime.
yeah.
Like my favorite one that I remember seeing, which you probably don't remember this one. It's called The City of Gold.
The City of Gold. That doesn't sound familiar.
It was on a Saturday morning.
Uh
I
huh.
think it aired in the 70s in Japan. I'm
Hmm.
trying to remember exactly when, but it got an English dub here in the West, and it started airing as a cartoon. They marketed it as a cartoon because
Right.
That's how people thought of it as. I mean, we didn't refer to it as anime.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I didn't
Right.
think Pokemon was an anime. You know what I mean?
Right. And so the one that really got me was Akira. That was my
Akira.
introduction to anime, with Kaneda and Tetsuo, and just seeing
Yep.
all the amazing, just the way it was done, the graphic design of it, and the way it moved, and just the
story.
storytelling. Yeah, the storytelling was phenomenal. And I think that's what a lot of people who aren't into anime, that haven't given it the opportunity or the chance, they may think it's just a cartoon, but there is way more storytelling in anime than there is in your traditional cartoon.
Gundam was another one.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people only think of it as, as a show that only has robots blowing people up, and that's it. But Gundam actually had a deep story. Like, it had a deep story of revenge.
Mm-hmm.
It had a deep story of love, conflict.
Yeah.
Like, people don't honestly think about that kind of stuff.
They don't. And I think that's why so many people are starting to kind of gravitate towards that, because it does have all those human emotions in it, and all those life experiences that you could have. Earthbound is fantastic.
Yeah, did you hear they announced it for the Switch? It's coming to the Switch.
Yep.
Yeah, that came out in the 90s. Like, that we'll talk about Earthbound in the 90s.
Yeah. But just growing up in the 80s, which I was young in the 80s, so early 90s is kind of where I really understood kind of what was going on. Then that's when Power Rangers came out. You had your DuckTales, Tailspin, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, all that started coming around. Then you had X-Men the animated series,
Darkwing
Spider-Man,
Duck,
Darkwing Duck, like
Bonkers.
It was just such a great transition to go from those 80s shows then into that. Gargoyles is
oh my gosh, Gargoyles,
really underrated. Gargoyles is one of the best shows ever. It's a fantastic show.
And wrestling. We forgot to talk about wrestling in the 80s. Oh my gosh. Like, that was the best era of 80s. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, all these great wrestlers like that, basically transitioned the business. Like, it made the business what it is today.
Yeah, so I mean,
WrestleMania,
what it is today is nothing in comparison. I feel like wrestling in the 80s is
the best period.
It's far superior because they took time and created characters, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just, Mark Norwood coming out to the ring. You had the Red Rooster, Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, Earthquake, Typhoon, Demolitia, the Legion of Doom, like all these cool names and stuff. Like they were characters, and you enjoyed tuning in to watch them.
I got a funny story actually. Recently, I actually met Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah. I met him at Huntington Comic-Con, and he was telling me a funny story about the Iron Sheik. Like, you're no good, jabroni. Like, the Iron Sheik. Obviously, he's one of my favorite wrestlers ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Pirate Canvas, why aren't you making a video? I'll get you in the camel cuts and break your neck.
And, the Sarge, he was in a very interesting storyline. Him and Hulk Hogan, right? When the Sarge,
WrestleMania 8.
He won the belt, and he was like anti-American, and
he was an Iraqi sympathizer or something. Right.
they just, even though when you look back on it today, it's like, man, that's silly. But back then, like,
General Mustafa.
you believed it. Like,
Yeah.
people tuned into that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
was
he talked about this in an interview. He basically he had to like they had to evacuate him to a different building because of that. Like he was afraid people were gonna stab him.
Yeah, he had several death threats and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
oh my gosh.
That means you're doing your job very well. You know,
as a
if
heel,
you could make the masses believe that. You know, and Hulk Hogan was the ultimate, you know, face wrestling match in the 80s. So it wasn't a great match from a technical standpoint. But when Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan faced off,
that was in the 90s, actually.
Was it in the 90s?
Yeah, 1990.
Okay.
Yep,
well,
WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 6, I believe.
Okay. Well, I'll go back then to the 80s. When
mine is Macho Man and Steamboat. That was the best match.
Yeah, I mean, Macho
3.
Man was a fantastic wrestler. He was very underrated.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, snap into a Slim Jim. But when he became King Mancho, that was really cool. I was actually at an event shortly after he became king and got the scepter, and they carried him in
and Sensational Sherry.
Yeah. And that was a cool kind of plot as well. When who was it? Was it Ravishing Rick Rude? Who he was having a feud with somebody, and they were with Miss Elizabeth, or was it?
Rick the Flair? Ultimate Warrior. It was WrestleMania 8, I believe, either 8 or 7, where Macho Man had his retirement match with the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior pretty much got over, which he was over. Gosh.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you this question, though. What do you think of that scene where Macho Man gets bitten by a snake?
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that happened in the 80s.
He's tied up in the ropes, and it just bites him in the arm, and it's like holding on.
Yeah, like it's holding on. Like, and Jake's like, "You're doing great, Macho." Fuck you.
Yeah. What the snake name was Damien, right?
Yeah, Damien. It was a no, actually that's the Python Damien. He was using a King Cobra.
Okay.
And that snake was like latching on to him, like he like you saw blood, and like what was your impression of that as a kid?
I loved it. I wanted more of it. You know? And call me crazy, like, you know, my dad would literally would fall asleep on the couch, and I'd be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street. So I love the bloody gore of all that stuff. It was a cool aspect of it. One crazy moment too, I can't remember if it was in the 80s. It probably was, because it was at I believe it was in the barber shop when Shawn Michaels super kicked Marty Jannetty through the glass. And
hang on, my mom.
No, you're good. You're good.
Sorry about that, Mark. I'll be right back.
Oh, no worries.
I gotta get my dog.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. No, but the 80s were, it was wrestling, it was cartoons, it was Back to the Future, it was Indiana Jones. There was just so many icons. It was all about music. It was a good time period as far as those things go, to be alive. So if you guys haven't experienced any of those things, go back and watch. It's definitely worth it, because you'll see where a lot of the stuff we have today, where it came from. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about Metrotham Con episode 3? Let's see if I can see the comments. Have you ever heard of this show called Hulk Hogan's Rock and Roll Wrestling? I have not, Stargirl. Would love to see that. Oh, I love Fierce. I love Stranger Things. It really takes me back to that decade for sure. And it's a really good show. And season 1 was pretty scary, actually. I wish they would try to go back to less is more instead of trying to have giant CGI monsters and
I'm
stuff.
back. Sorry about that. That dog, he outruns me. Oh, he's a small little dog, like he's a Yorkie. Oh Lord.
Paranoia asks, what are your favorite cartoons from the 80s or 90s? Favorite 80s cartoon would probably have to be.
We'll answer that after the cartoons.
Ninja Turtles.
Oh my gosh, my cousin Dee Dee and I, we grew up watching the Ninja Turtles. Like, I wasn't born when it was popular, but I still remember the toys and everything. Like, there was like one action figure I had of the Ninja Turtles was the one that swimmed.
Yeah.
Like, you could put it in the water and it swim, like kick its legs.
And Ninja Turtles is the one franchise that never went away. Like it continued to have merchandise and shows.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Right. Whereas like He-Man and the real Ghostbusters, those kind of went away. You had Extreme Ghostbusters, which is underrated. That's a great cartoon. And now we have more He-Man stuff.
Thundercats.
Thundercats is probably a close second. I love Thundercats. If I could show you, I've got the Sword of Omens over there. I bought it at the episode 2. The guy that had the swords was amazing. He had all kinds of.
I know. I remember the figurines and everything like that. That was one of my favorite aspects of these cartoons was just the merch and like the action figures.
Yeah, I mean, and they're so marketable. Like you could do so much with all that stuff.
So, what's your favorite 80s song?
Oh man, that's tough. There's so many good ones.
Sweet Child of Mine.
Probably not. I would probably go more towards. Let's see. I loved Cyndi Lauper. Loved Michael Jackson. But I'm gonna go with my man Prince. The song "I Would Die for You."
I would die for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's good.
She says top 3 then.
Thriller is amazing. It's so good. It doesn't matter where you're at. If it comes on, like you want to do the dance.
I mean, Michael Jackson, he made Thriller.
Yeah.
But my favorite Michael Jackson song, obviously I like Bad. I like, Just Beat It, but I mean, there's just so many Michael Jackson songs. Billie Jean, Jean, you are my love.
Yeah, that's great. Michael Jackson, man, he was a entertainer for sure. Like so many people wouldn't be where they are today without him kind of setting that trail. That's for sure.
my top 3 songs though from the 80s. I like Metallica, Fade to Black. You know, that's from their Riding the Lightning album, which I'm planning on actually doing like something like that where I sort of do like an album clash, like to see which album was the best. Like, because I've been wanting to do something like that, but the thing is, YouTube is like, you know, they're crazy when it comes to copyright and everything. So
Right.
it's hard to do that. But that I mean, Fade to Black. I want that song to play at my funeral. I mean, I said it better be at my funeral. It better be on my will. Fade to Black. Sweet Child of Mine and November Rain. Underrated Guns N' Roses song.
So Axl had a huge influence on you.
Mm-hmm.
I see. You love Guns N' Roses. I love Guns N' Roses too. I just and then yeah. The Take on Me, you know that song. Toto. There's just so much in the 80s that you can't even begin to scratch the surface. Like Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. I love that.
So what are your thoughts on 80s classics like My Little Pony Gen 1, Transformers, Strawberry Shortcake, and many other franchises that came out around that time?
You know, the My Little Pony and the Strawberry Shortcake, I don't remember. I know I watched some of that. It just didn't stick for whatever reason. Now Transformers, and because I was in Transformers, He-Man, Voltron, Thundercats, like Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, that was my jam. That's what I was into. But I do remember those being around. Mm-hmm. They just didn't stick with me for whatever reason. But Transformers Gen 1, it doesn't get much better than that.
Fierce, apathetic Black Queen wants to know, what's your favorite things from the 2000s or 2010s?
2000s. Isn't that like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys? I'll pick
them. That was sort of in the 2000s. Like it started in the 90s and went into the 2000s. But I liked, I like Nicktoons. You know that. You know, like and oh yeah, cartoons. Because that was where Fairly Odd Parents came to be. Like I like Fairly Odd Parents. 2010s. I mean, that was probably the best period for wrestling. Like, because CM Punk cut that pipe bomb promo and everything.
So, going back to wrestling just a little bit, who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
That's a tough one. Because if we're going by the 80s era.
Just all time.
Of all time? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Not who's the best, just who's your favorite.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
So I would say, without a doubt, and he's probably one of the best technical wrestlers of all time as well.
Bret Hart.
My favorite. Shawn Michaels is my favorite.
I thought you were going to say Bret Hart.
Mr. WrestleMania. I love Shawn Michaels. Every match that he was in, regardless of who he was up against, was must-see TV. Like, he made everyone better. Those Hell in the Cells where he's flying off the top of the cage.
Yep.
You know, it's just, man, it was so great to watch that.
And his personality was just larger than life, you know.
Right. And when they did DX, it just took it to a whole nother level. And his song "Sexy Boy" with Sensational Sherry, and man, it was great. And that's when they were coming out with like a pay-per-view every other weekend. That's when they had the In Your House stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was just it was a good period. That Raw, the Attitude Era produced a lot of good wrestlers too.
That's a good question right there. What are your recommendations for those who wanted to get into the 80s? I would start with music.
Yeah, and music, you know, that's the thing. Like, so much of what's happening today, you can hear and see and feel a lot of the 80s in it. Like, a lot of your most popular stuff, you know, is just rehashes.
Phil Collins. Like
Yeah.
every single song that Phil Collins sings
Phil
or
Collins,
performs,
great.
it feels like the 80s.
Yeah.
It just screams 80s.
So, I mean, I would recommend, go back and listen to some of the great, like we said, Michael Jackson, Guns N' Roses, you got Journey, Foreigner, those.
Nobody remembers that movie, The Princess Bride.
That's right. Oh, I remember that movie.
Oh my gosh.
That movie's great.
Or the
Andre the
Goonies.
Giant.
The Goonies. Like I was surprised. Like I went to work the other day and I was talking about the Goonies, and my coworker, like who I work with, he was like, I don't even know what that is. I was like, you don't know the Goonies?
So,
Sloth
all right.
back there. Look at your
Yeah.
background. Come on.
So there's the Stranger Things kids playing D&D against
The
the
Goonies.
Goonies.
Who doesn't remember the Goonies?
So what's your favorite movie from the 80s? Let's just keep it in the 80s.
All right, my favorite movie. Boy, oh boy. It depends on the
Yeah.
genre, but
From
if
the
you just
80s.
want favorite movie, The Goonies.
Overall, okay.
The Goonies.
Mine is Goonies F. And a lot of people haven't seen this movie, but it's gained a lot of cult following. It's my favorite movie of all time, regardless of period or genre. The Monster Squad is my favorite movie of all time. It's the Goonies meets Universal Monsters. And
Yep.
if you guys haven't seen that movie, please give it a watch.
Another movie I'd recommend people to see is Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal. So I remember it very fondly. I loved it as a kid. I have recently went back and watched it. It doesn't hold up as good as like the Monster Squad. Like I can go back and watch the Monster Squad and overlook a couple of the 80s, CGI that looks terrible, but there were a lot of good practical effects. But the Dark Crystal just didn't hold up as much for me. It's still great. It's still nostalgic, and I could watch it anytime it comes on.
What's your favorite Disney movies from the 80s or 90s? My favorite is Mulan and Beauty and the Beast. If we're going by 80s, I mean,
there's a lot.
The Black Cauldron,
Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid.
There's so many. Like yeah.
My favorite Disney movie of all time is probably Robin Hood.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, with the fox and Baloo was in it.
Mm-hmm. The Jungle Book. Yeah, the Jungle Book came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
The Bare Necessities.
Those bare necessities.
My favorite Disney movie. My favorite Disney movie of all time is Lion King. Lion
King's good.
Yeah. Just don't watch the remake.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, actually, this is actually a good point to talk about. Like the 80s also had some remakes as well.
Yeah.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which people don't know this. John Carpenter's The Thing is actually a remake of A Thing from Another World.
Right.
Let's see. How do you feel about remakes of 80s movies?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just because those movies, and again, it's what I think makes the 80s such a special decade, right? They did it a certain way, and it's really hard to replicate. And people who grew up on that stuff are just so die-hard, freaks about it. And they're super nostalgic. And if you redo it and it's not right, they're going to crap on it. You know what I mean? Those movies are really untouchable. Like Back to the Futures, those are untouchable. Indiana Jones, that stuff's untouchable. Like you can't remake that just because it's not going to be the same.
Or the Goonies, you can't remake the Goonies.
It's not gonna feel the same.
Which they've already talked about it. They talked about doing a remake of the Goonies.
Yeah.
Oh God, please no. That's my favorite movie. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of remakes.
What about Labyrinth? Oh, that's an underrated movie.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, David Bowie. Yeah, David Bowie was a big fixture of the 80s.
Yeah, David Bowie's on our artwork he's like the mastermind in our artwork for this year. So.
Disney's Little Mermaid became the one that started the Disney Renaissance era.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura. I don't think that came out in the 80s.
That's
I
90s.
wish it did, though.
Oh my gosh. I saw earlier someone asked, what's your favorite Don Bluth film?
Yeah, Don Bluth.
Don Bluth. So an American Tale, Fievel, somewhere out there. That movie, I love that movie with Fievel Mouskowitz. I don't know if you've ever seen those movies, but the American Tale movies are absolutely.
Right. I also like Land Before Time, the first one.
Yeah,
but my favorite Don Bluth of anything is Dragon's Lair, because of how it revolutionized arcade games.
Yeah. Did Don Bluth, did he do Alvin and the Chipmunks?
I don't know, actually.
I can't remember if that was Don Bluth.
I don't think that was him.
All Dogs Go to Heaven. Right?
All Dogs Go to Heaven.
I love that movie.
Oh my gosh. I was actually watching that not too long ago, All Dogs Go to Heaven, with my little cousin Lily. She's been getting into a lot of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I told Chris to show her All Dogs Go to Heaven. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's really sad too.
Yeah.
Especially what happened to the voice actress that played as Annie Marie. For those of you who don't know, the voice actress that played as her, she was murdered by her father. Yeah. She also voiced Ducky in Land Before Time. I think her name was Judith Eva Barcy. Yeah.
I love Ducky.
And
Peter.
And
Sarah.
And Sarah. And Littlefoot. I got a story actually about Land Before Time. Like, we had it playing on the VHS, and I had a hard time going to sleep when I was little, so we would have movies playing so that way I could go to sleep, and that movie made me cry.
Oh, dude, Land Before Time, that's tough to watch. Like, you'll cry.
I was crying over Littlefoot's mother. Like, I was crying, and I wanted to be with my grandmother, and it's like, oh my gosh, like that tore me apart. Yep. And I think that was one of the first cartoons I've ever seen where a character got killed.
Yeah,
it just it hurt me.
I saw Bambi. Bambi's tough.
Bambi,
Old Yeller. Oof,
Old Yeller. Tough. Speaking of Alvin and the Chipmunks, have you ever seen the movie The Chipmunk Adventure? It came out in the mid-'80s.
I have. I just don't remember a whole lot about it. I'm more fond of
I've never heard of it.
The ones that stuck with me more was like Alvin and the Chipmunks meets the Wolfman, or Alvin and Chipmunks meets Frankenstein. Like, those stuck with me more than that one.
Mine would have to be the Scooby-Doo movies, like Zombie Island.
Zombie Island. That was the first time the monsters were real, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so that was a really, really, really good cartoon movie, where the stakes were raised and then they were actual zombies and they were actually in danger.
Yeah, they were talking about Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But can we ask about some of the guests like a little bit?
Yeah.
So, like, in terms of actresses, or like, are you getting like someone from the 80s? Like, that was a big fixture?
Yep.
All right.
And he's incredible, and he is green.
He's green. That's all you need to know.
There's some other ones as well. There's a Power Ranger that will be there.
Power Ranger. I think I know who.
So we'll, our guest
I'm actually
list.
going to be going to see him next month.
Our guest list is always evolving.
Oh yeah, I was going to tell you something. Johnny actually told me why he couldn't be at Metrotham Con last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was at a wedding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's so. Vic texted him while he was there, and that's kind of what Johnny told him. So I heard that.
Yeah, Johnny, he's such a good person. I mean, I can't wait to go see him next month. And Jason David Frank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, Power Rangers was a big fixture in my life, Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for Jason David Frank, I wouldn't be who I am today. I mean, he's a bigger influence on me than Vic is.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, JDF was in Power Rangers for years.
Yeah.
And he's synonymous. He's the Ranger, right?
He's the oldest one. I didn't even notice that. Like he looks so like I thought he was younger.
Yeah.
No, he's the oldest.
Mm-hmm. I really like. I don't know.
St. John Austin. He's the youngest.
Yeah, I don't know if you've read the Boom Studios stuff, but the alternate stories, of Lord Draken. And then you got the Omega Rangers. That's kind of explained why Trini, Zach, and Jason went to the Peace Corps or whatever. They actually became the Omega Rangers, and were fighting bigger threats than the regular Power Rangers that they left behind. But the Boom Studio stuff is an amazing read. If you haven't read it, you should definitely check it out.
So yeah, we already know who the next guest is. Like you're gonna announce Johnny, ain't it?
I'm not announcing anybody.
Okay, you don't have to announce it. We already know.
I'm not announcing anybody.
Okay. What about music? Like last year, you had None Like Joshua, who's fucking great, dude. Really great.
Yeah, he's incredible. And we keep in touch with NLJ. He loves to come and to the show and perform. And I don't know if we're going to have him out this year, but we are going to have Radio Cult, which does kind of an 80s.
Radio Cult.
They can do an 80s set. Pure Ed, who opens up for them. Like I said, we got the Jennifer Seehee concert. There's another 2 things in the works that I can't announce because it has to do with guests that are musically inclined. So music is going to be a big part of it. That's for sure.
Because that's the biggest thing of the 80s.
I mean, it's all big in the 80s. Like the hair was big, the pants were big, like just everything.
Pants, the guitars.
Right. Man, they just did it big in the 80s. It was awesome. Yeah.
What about wrestlers, or are you going to have any wrestlers?
So I'm not going to do wrestlers for the simple fact that
too expensive.
No, not that. It's just I think I'm going to do a wrestling year, where wrestling is our theme, where I'll have, a bunch of wrestling guests, and we'll set up a ring in one of the big exhibit halls. We'll get the legends involved in some matches with some younger talent.
Right.
Even if we come out and give somebody a chair shot, we'll have people like Sergeant Slaughter and some of the legends like that to come out.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I've got something really cool planned. That's kind of why I'm not doing wrestlers, because I do have a
Right.
whole year that will be themed towards wrestling.
Ah, I see what you're doing. You're not
Yeah.
playing all your cards in. I see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Smart, smart.
So like this year's 80s, next year's 90s, and then maybe the year after that will be the wrestling year.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there's so many things from the 80s, like I think people are gonna like it a lot.
Yeah. And our panels, we got some really cool panels that, there's panels about, MTV, Saturday morning
Yeah.
cartoons. So if you don't know a whole lot about that stuff, you can go sit in those panels and kind of learn from
Yeah.
people who grew up with it, like myself, and can talk to people about it passionately, because they have fond memories of it. I think all that stuff's
Kurt Cobain, that was the 90s.
yep.
Which actually Nirvana started in the 80s. I think it was 89. They came out with their Bleach IP album or something like that. LP. It might be a LP album. But yeah, it's not 80s. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I just, I had so much fun last year. Like,
We're
I
gonna
don't
see
know.
you. You're coming this year, right? You're gonna be able to make it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and like I think I told you, I'll try to line it up to where you can interview like all the celebrities and stuff like that. If kind of give you full press access, that type of thing.
Really?
So, yeah.
I'd appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
I mean, usually I get a media pass anyways because I'm good friends with some of these convention people, like Jared, the one who does Huntington and Lexington Comic Con. I mean, they're
Yeah.
good people, and they
Mhm.
they tell me I have to set it up myself though. Like I have to set up the interviews and everything. Like I have to set up a time frame and everything, which I'm probably not going to do any interviews this year because COVID and everything. And I just had COVID. Like it was bad. Like I,
Yeah.
I, I thought I was going to die. I really did because I couldn't breathe. And that was another thing I wanted to talk about was how is your restrictions going to be this year?
So
Now that
again,
cases have gone up a little bit.
right. I want everybody to be as safe as possible. That
Hmm.
that will always be the thing.
Hmm.
Um, the tough part about it is if there's not mandates in place, if there's not rules in place, you know, you're forced or faced with the tough decision of, if I enforce this stuff, am I going to segregate a specific group that
Hmm.
are comfortable going to stuff without a mask or stuff like that. So I think kind of what I'm going to do is make everything strongly encouraged,
Hmm.
depending on where we're at. Come May, it could all die down or it could be worse. Things could change. This is ever evolving. It's
Hmm.
always going to be one of the things where we're going to have to make changes, on
Oh
a
yeah.
weekly basis. Um, so I think it's going to be one of those things where, hey, do what you feel comfortable with. And if it's most convention goers now mask up anyway,
Hmm.
a big majority of them, right? Um, so it's just strongly encouraged right now is kind of where we're at. Um, try to keep your distance if you're with in a big group that's
Hmm.
that's not who you came with, that type of thing. Um, and then of course we'll clean everything and sanitize as best we can.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you
yeah,
had
it's
sanitization. You had sanitization stations. You also
yeah,
had,
we'll
people
have
doing
all that.
temperature checks. Which I'll be honest with you, some of them weren't really doing their best. Like there were some
Yeah,
people that they were letting in without even doing temperature checks.
right. And
Yeah, and
that's
yeah, it's just not fair to everybody else.
yeah. And
That's
that's
probably
something
the
that
only
will,
bad thing that was, that I saw, from last year.
yeah. And then it's one of those things where if, what if that person's
Hmm.
come in 3 times, and they got to stop and get a temperature check every single time,
Yeah, and
so,
that was another thing.
so that's the tough part, right? So
Hmm.
either you fully commit or you kind of leave it up to your attendees and your fan base to do what they think's best, right,
Hmm.
for them and the group that they came with. Um, because I think if you want
Hmm.
to get vaccinated, right? Feel as safe as possible. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Nobody will say anything to you if you do, and if they do, they're gone. You know what I mean? We won't tolerate any type of bullying or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and again, it just depends on where we're at when it comes to that time, right?
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean that's the thing. Like when you go to Metrotham Con, like you honestly feel like it's a safe place to be,
mhm.
and it wasn't really that bad, in all honesty, because I mean it wasn't like people got worse or like the cases went up or anything like that because of this event specifically.
No, no.
But I mean, I just, I guess, I was just hoping that, they sort of tone it down a little bit on the, you know, like the temperature checks. Like, I mean, I would do it every
Right,
day instead of 3 times a day.
right. And that's and that's the thing. That's the fine balance. I think maybe what we do is when you come and pick up your badge, you get a temperature check, right? At that
All
point,
right.
that way you got one when you first showed up, you weren't having symptoms. We ask you if you have any symptoms, do a temperature check, you don't have a temperature. Um, I don't think that like you said, I don't think it's necessary to get it 3 times. Like if you're going in and out of the vendor hall type thing,
Yeah.
I think that's a bit much. But
Hmm.
we're trying to. These are unprecedented times, right? Like it's
Yeah.
difficult, and nobody, especially at that time, really kind of knew what to do. You know,
And also I think there was some audio issues as well. Like you noticed in the Vic video, he was trying to turn on the mic, and
yeah,
he didn't, he couldn't get it to work. So he said, you know what, I'm just gonna use my voice.
yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah, he's good at that. And
but
I
that,
guess that's
but
another question I was gonna ask you, because I know a lot of people here that's what they want to know is Vic coming to Metrotham Con again, or will he be in a future one?
uh, we'll see.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I thought.
um, we'll see.
It's
Yeah,
not out of the cards.
it's not. It is not at all. I think a lot of people enjoyed Vic being there and had a good time, and got stuff signed, got to chat with
Yeah.
him, sit in the panel.
Hmm.
Um, I think they had a good experience. That there was
Hmm.
no negativity whatsoever. From at least that I didn't witness any or didn't get any feedback that was negative.
Right.
So I think it was definitely a positive experience. Yeah, and
Have you had any negative experiences with guests or anything like that?
I mean, you're always going to have something. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to stop and think. You're dealing with people,
Hmm.
whether they're currently extremely popular or in the limelight. At some point in time in their life, they have, where they were,
Hmm.
doing a bunch of movies and making a bunch of money and living it up, and then that kind of mentality can sometimes
Yeah.
stick with you, right? And sometimes they can be difficult. Most of the time, they're fantastic.
Oh
They're
yeah.
just they're just people like we are, right? They're trying to make a living. The convention circuits where a lot of them do make their living.
Hmm.
Um, especially your C-listers, D-listers, and a lot of your B-listers now too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
People like Corey Feldman, who at one point was maybe even an A-lister, right? He was super hot, at one period in his life doing Lost Boys, Goonies, and then you had the two Coreys, all those movies that they did together. He was the voice of Donatello and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was hot at one point, and now he hasn't done much. So it's one of those things where at one point in time he was the biggest thing out there, and then you kind of come back to reality a little bit, and sometimes those egos are still there, so you got to deal with that a little bit.
I agree with you, Dojin. Everyone just show love and support for Mark and Metrotham Con, as they put this show together. I mean, it's going to be great. I know it is, because I've already been to one. I'm going this year. I already requested my 3 days off for that.
Nice.
I said, I'm going. There's nothing you can do. You can fire me, but I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to.
What's your favorite toys from the 80s?
That's a good gosh. The Ninja Turtles.
Those are great. My favorite toys, though, were the Ghostbuster stuff, like the Ecto one. They had the proton pack and the PKE meters and stuff. Man, those are a lot of fun because you could go around and catch ghosts. They had this one proton pack or neutrino wand that projected like ghost onto the wall. I guess it did the light through the little whatever that thing is, and it put them on the wall. So it was like you were busting them.
Yep. You remember? You remember Ecto Cooler?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! People are trying to replicate it.
Where did I see that at? Somebody had some Ecto Coolers or something.
You should present that at the con. Like, people need to try it. It's great, and I think there's a recipe for it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Muppet?
Kermit the Frog here. Hey,
Kermit the Frog. I can't do it.
Hey.
Fozzie. 1, 2, 3. Also check out their live streams on Facebook. Yes, they have fantastic live streams on Facebook. Too bad I'm not part of them.
We'll have to get you on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I need to find a day off. Or like when I'm not going to flea markets and buying old school toys and stuff. I've just been a collector of everything, like, from that period. I bought my mother a Cabbage Patch doll. You remember those, right? From the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they were popular in the 70s too. But I think they were even bigger in the 80s because you had like the Garbage Pal cards.
The Garbage Pal Kids, yeah.
Garbage Pal Kids.
They were a spoof of Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, but that made it even popular.
Yeah. You remember the Toxic Avenger?
Toxic Avenger. Oh, Toxie. Oh my gosh, you need to get Lloyd Kaufman. Please get Lloyd Kaufman. I've actually been reading one of his books, Make Your Own Damn Movie. It is great. If you're wanting to get into making movies, like he basically explains how to get into it and everything. Like he even talks about making shit, everything. Like, he makes like blood, gore, everything, like all the props and stuff. Like he basically talks about it, and he's a treasure. I don't want to lose him.
Matt Wolf.
Dojin Ronan is just my DJ name, but you could call me Matt.
Matt Wolf needs to rock out our after parties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite drinks in the 80s? You said Surge earlier.
Yeah, Surge was a good one. The drink that I drank a lot in the 80s. You remember those the different colored juices that came in like a barrel, like a crate, and it had the little
I think I know what you're talking about.
and drink them. I don't know
Yeah.
what they were called, but I remember having those all the time as a kid.
I I don't remember the name of it. I mean, you also had, the Nintendo cereal system, which I think was
Yeah.
the first cereal that ever had two like different flavors of cereal.
Nesquik.
Nesquik. Ovaltine's better.
I think.
Garbage Pack Kids, Garbage Pal Kids movie is sick. And they made a movie about it. It's terrible. I think they are called Hugs. Yeah, Hugs. They're still around.
They are. Yeah, they are around. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still around. But I remember, I don't know if you remember these. Like, I think they're called Squeezes. Like, it's the same type of juice, but when you squeeze it, you drink it, and like, and it had the faces on them.
Yeah, I remember those.
I think they were called Squeeze-Its or something
like
that.
Mondos?
Mondos
were. They had the little. They're like squeezes too. You twist the top off, and they had different flavors, and you squeeze it out.
Yep. You remember Butterfinger BBs?
Yeah, I do.
They need to bring it back.
So obviously you disagree with me on this. I'm not a big fan of Butterfingers for the simple fact they taste good, but they get stuck in your teeth so bad
because it's butterscotch.
Yeah. So I'm more of and I'm a candy connoisseur. I love candy. I love my sweet treats. So I love, and this is an 80s throwback, like Alexander the Great, Lemon Heads, Red Hots,
Hot tamales.
Hot tamales are great. And as far as like chocolate bars, I'm more of a Milky Way, Three Musketeers, and not too long ago, the incredible Iron Brian, who's one of the hosts of our live show, Brian Rand, he told me about a Zero bar. I'd never heard of a Zero bar.
Yeah, they still make them.
They've been around for forever. Yeah. And it's probably been maybe 5 or 6 months ago. I can't. It was a little while ago, and I tried my first Zero
I've
bar,
eaten them,
and that's my favorite. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I also like. I like Take 5.
Yeah, Take 5's pretty good. Do you remember the little wax bottles that had the juice in them? Like I would just pop that thing in there and just chew it up and get all the juice out.
Yeah, and I think they still got them. They still have those now.
They're called
they're called fruits, candy fruit. Like you bite into it. I think that's the equivalent of it. I'm not really sure. Watch him call it. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite candy bar. Period. That and Thingamajig. They came out with a Thingamajig and Doohickey.
Mr. Goodbar.
Mr. Goodbar. Brown cows.
You remember? I mean, I still eat Klondike bars. They got the Reese's
Klondike.
Bars, but you remember
Klondike.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Yep.
And they don't make commercials like they used to.
Double your refreshment. Double mint commercials.
That's 80s commercials. Man, 80s commercials were so great. They don't even
Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy Ruxpin, yeah.
Yeah, Teddy Ruxpin.
I had a Teddy.
Friggin' nightmares. Nightmare fuel.
So I know you don't remember the My Buddy dolls, but I had a My Buddy doll. And I remember watching Child's Play. And after that, My Buddy doll
influenced it.
Disappeared. Like I threw that sucker out. I was like, nope, you are not coming to life and trying to kill me.
Miss Echo Geek is hungry now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Child's Play, yeah. That was a big fixture in the 80s and 90s.
I mean, they all were. Like horror was huge.
Yeah.
Michael Myers.
And we haven't really gotten into horror.
Mm-mm.
Like what's your favorite horror movie?
Showgirls, completely terrifying.
Showgirls. Oh
That's
god.
a quote from Randy in Scream. I'm just kidding. Not Showgirls. Halloween, OG.
I think that came out in 79.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70. Well, it was leading into the 80s. Like that that's one of the things about that movie is it basically started the slasher genre that would go into the 90s. I mean 80s.
Well,
Gosh.
it created the slasher genre as we know it today,
Mhm.
but it took a lot of its elements from Hitchcock,
Yep.
Psycho, and Black Christmas.
Yep.
Some of the older ones like that that had kind of the same elements in it, and it just took it to a whole nother level.
My favorite 80s movie, like horror movie, is Pet Cemetery. Oh
Pet
my
Cemetery is
god.
good.
And I've
No
read the
fan.
original book. The
Yeah.
original book is even scarier to read than watching the movie.
Yeah. I remember seeing what was his name, Patch, when you see his exposed head or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that was rough to see as a kid.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's such a great movie. That and Evil Dead. I love Evil Dead. Obviously, Evil Dead.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs is my favorite Mel Brooks film.
Yep. There's another Mel Brooks film that I think is underrated that came out in the 70s that I actually like, and that is Evil Roy Slade. It's a Western comedy one, or actually Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Spaceballs is great. Barf and Dark Helmet was Rick Moranis.
Yep.
From and then Mel Brooks himself was a yogurt was the name. It was a spoof of Yoda.
Yoda.
Oh man.
Merchandising.
I have not watched Spaceballs.
I am your father's cousin's former roommate.
Yeah.
What does that make you? Absolutely nothing. I always use that.
That's
Young
a great
Frankenstein.
one. Yeah, that is a great one.
Man, even in the future, nothing works. Oh gosh.
So on our live show, Metrotham Con Live this coming Monday, we're doing a retro review on Big Trouble in Little China. That's probably my second. That's probably my second favorite movie. So I'm excited for that. So
by the way,
we're going to talk about it and rate it.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention something here. Last year I was supposed to do a review or something to sort of tie in with Metrotham Con, yet I didn't get to. So this year I'm actually going to be doing a review of. I haven't really decided on it yet exactly what I'm going to review. It's going to be in the 80s. That's all you need to know. But it's gonna be a way to promote Metrotham Con.
Nice.
And like I'm influenced by the Angry Video Game Nerd, and obviously it's gonna be a bad game from the 80s. Because back then when it came to bad movies, video games and stuff like that, E.T. Yeah, E.T. Yeah, I don't want to review that. That's too obvious.
Friday the 13th? That game's actually.
That's for the NES. I actually like that game a lot.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, the music and everything. I'll figure it out. It says you guys know the fact that Simpsons originally aired in '89. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Simpsons was sort of leading into the '90s.
Yep.
Like in that era.
The Ghostbusters games for the NES.
Oh God.
Was that an LGN game? Those LGN games are
LJN games.
Yeah.
I was thinking of reviewing Back to the Future. on the
Okay,
NES.
that's an LGN game.
Yep,
That's an
that
LJN.
and Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
which actually, believe it or not, there's also a Who Framed Roger Rabbit game. And guess who it was
There's
made by?
LJN.
It was made by LJ. They published it,
Yeah.
but guess
Yeah.
who actually made it?
I'm not sure.
Rare.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the same people that made Banjo Kazooie, Donkey
Yeah.
Kong 64. All the Donkey Kong Country games. They even made the Home Alone games.
I like those Home Alone games. They're a lot of fun to play.
Well, I actually played the one. Have you played the one on the Genesis?
I have.
It's good. It's the
Yeah.
best one.
Yeah. When you go you get on the sled and you go to the different houses, and I'm not sure if that's the Genesis ones. I've played different ones.
Yeah.
But if they catch you, they hang you up on the hook, and you got to like hit the button to wiggle off.
Yeah, that's the Genesis version.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I want to do to sort of promote Metrotham Con, which I was supposed to do that last year, but I didn't get to. A lot of stuff going on. I had a question for you, PC. How you get into the 80s stuff? I never known much about the 80s. You had parents, obviously. That's how I got into it. My dad, my mom. Like we would rent. Back then, like in the probably late 80s, early 90s. We had video stores and stuff. You remember that?
Blockbuster Video.
Blockbuster Video. Yep. And that's how we actually watched a lot of these movies and everything. Like, that's how I got into 80s. Same. That's how I got into 80s pop culture. But, yeah.
You can literally go down a rabbit hole of 80s stuff. I mean, once you start watching one thing, it leads to another, and it's like, wow, this is good stuff.
Yeah, Blockbuster. We remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, streaming. Yeah, that did kill the. Well, I mean, there is still a Blockbuster.
Well, yeah.
The only one's in Oregon, which I want to go there one day.
I think the video store was dead before streaming.
Yeah.
It just was.
When you had on demand and
pay per view.
Yeah, because even then, like you could just watch it on demand. Watch anything you want.
Right.
Which that was like the early version of Netflix.
And at one point too, like VHS and DVDs became affordable enough to where I'm not going to rent it. I'll just go buy it,
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's kind of what I did. I was like, well, why would I go and pay $5 to rent it or whatever the rental fee was on the new releases? And, when I can pay another extra $5 and own it and have it forever.
Yeah.
That was kind of my mindset during that time period, which now I've, traded in all my Blu-rays and DVDs and it's all digital now. So, I know that's not very classical of me, and that's not very nostalgic.
I mean,
but it just had to be too much to store, all the VHS, and then you had DVDs, and then you started collecting Blu-rays, and it's like, man, this is just too much.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, and plus everything, like even if you want to start collecting stuff, it costs money, like to buy all that stuff again. Like, this game, like I paid like $15 for it, which I could have easily just, emulated it, which I have it on my computer. So, I mean, but I guess I think the idea of collecting stuff, it's not just, to be able to go back and play it, because I can play it anytime I want, but just to, sort of, have something from the past to sort of, to sort of go back to, and to sort of reminiscent, I guess.
Yeah. It's all about nostalgia and
Mhm.
taking you back to those fond memories of when you were a child, or just that's what it is. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's why people will go back and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on toys.
Yeah.
And to the masses, it may be just toys, but to that person, it's something that really, maybe that TV show got them through a tough time, or maybe that song made them get out and dance and open up and become
Hmm.
more personable. There's just so many memories that are attached to different objects and songs and movies that different people hold different things dear. So, and that, I think that kind of creates this niche uh grouping, like collectible
Hmm.
stuff, because when I say my favorite movie is the Monster Squad, if I saw anything Monster Squad out somewhere, I'm gonna buy it, but most people wouldn't. But the only
Hmm.
reason that I do is because it has such a fond
Right.
place in my mind, right? So
And you don't want to just have something that'll just collect dust, and you never even bother with it or anything. I mean, I don't. I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that. I guess I just I like just having something physical in my hands,
yeah,
and just being able to experience it like I was in the 80's. I mean, it's not just necessarily to play it, because I can play the game. I can any point. I just like I just like going back and talking about it, with people.
yeah.
And that's the thing with me. That's what this channel is about. It's about discussing video games from that time, and talking about things I enjoy. Yeah.
So Matt Wolf there, he's talking about Book of Boba. Are you caught up on Book of Boba? Have you been watching that on Disney Plus?
I have not seen it.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
Matt
not a
Wolf.
big Star Wars fan.
Okay. That's are you like
I was
Star
more
Trek?
into Star Trek.
Okay. I love those debates. Which one's the superior Trek or Star Wars,
Star Trek Generations is what I grew up with.
Yeah. So, the, Matt, the Book of Boba is those
Watch
last
it.
couple episodes. Those last couple episodes were great. So, yeah, we'll discuss that in the show.
Well, I guess the reason why I just didn't get into Star Wars is like, like I always thought that Star Wars is sort of like Star Trek, because like I saw Star Trek before I ever saw like one of the older Star Wars movies on TV, and I was thinking to myself, this is a ripoff of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like that's what I honestly thought, because I was a kid, and I never really picked up Star Wars. And I
I
mean, I
picked up
understand
both.
why people love it now.
Yeah, I picked up both, and I've seen the majority of everything from both fandoms. I do. I personally think Star Wars is the superior of the two, but
Mm.
not by much. Star Trek: The Next Generation is amazing. Sir Patrick Stewart, is by far
Yep.
the best captain. And I know a lot of people love Kirk, but Picard is my dude all day.
Picard.
Yeah.
You have entered the land of Oz.
Yeah. And a lot of people sleep on Deep Space Nine, but
Mr.
Deep Space
Wolf.
Nine is
Fire.
pretty good too.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine. Yep.
Yeah. And so it's one of those. So you go back, I literally can name so many characters from the Next Generation that were popular. I feel like they focused very heavily on everyone, like the team, and they're very memorable. Whereas the original, it was Kirk and Spock. You know, they had other characters that people know of, you know, Chekhov and Scotty, but the main two were like Kirk and Spock. But in the Next Generation, I feel like the other guys got more screen time. Like, you know, you had Riker, Data, Geordi, Dr. Beverly Crusher, Diana Troy, Wesley Crusher. Like, even him, you know, he became famous just by being Wesley Crusher. You know, and then he's on The Big Bang Theory. I just feel like that iteration of Star Trek was more popular.
Yeah. But what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
No.
I mean, I know some of the quotes. I mean, I've seen clips of it, like, you know, some of the lines, you know, over my dead body, you know, where Hans shoots that alien dude. Greedo.
Yeah.
Like, people debated who shot first.
Yeah. Han shot first.
Yeah. Like, I've seen clips of it. I mean, I when I was a kid, I just didn't get into it as much. Like, now, like, if you go back and watch some of the Star Wars movies, like, on the clips, like, it's interesting how much it has influenced, you know, our culture, you know.
Yeah.
And not just that, I mean, you have a lot of these, you know, iconic characters, and, you know, people will fondly remember forever.
Yeah.
And you know, I can't argue against that.
And I mean, you got just as many, you know, Trekkies, like people that looked up to Kirk and Picard, people that looked up to, you know, Scott, Luke, and Han. It's kind of, you know, they're both great in their own right, and they have different things to offer. I feel like too. To me, Star Wars can be very political in a way. You know, not to talk about politics or anything like that. I don't want to do that, but it can be, you know, very political in a sense, if you really dive into the story and what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, any of the truths you cling to depends greatly on which version of the movie you watch. Like, I know there's a bunch of special editions. Like, there's a special edition, special edition, and there's, like, I don't know where to start. Because it's hard. Like, I heard that you can't even watch the original. I think it's A New Hope. You can't even watch the original one. Because all the DVDs and Blu-rays just have the special edition.
It's okay. You don't want to watch the original.
Why?
I'll be honest. So, you know, of course, as a younger person, those movies were fantastic, and that movie came out before I was born. So, you know, I didn't see it until it had already been released for quite some time, to where I actually understood it and knew what was going on. So, I think when you go back and if you were to see the original now, where the lightsabers aren't colored, and, you know, just it's just tough to watch. Some of those things don't hold up. And that's kind of why they went back and redid some of those special editions and added in some CGI stuff to transition you from one scene to the next, just to kind of help ease that. And they went back and digitally remastered and restored color and things like that. Made the lightsaber sounds better. And so if you look at Revenge of the Sith in comparison to like A New Hope, when you watch Anakin and Obi-Wan fight in Revenge of the Sith, it's a million times better than A New Hope. A New Hope, they're literally like zzz, zzz, zzz. And then Revenge of the Sith, they're like spinning lightsabers around
and flipping around, like
everywhere. And it's like, whoa, you know, that's what it doesn't even compare. And Revenge of the Sith isn't that great of a movie. I love A New Hope so much better. The storytelling's better, but just the quality of it. And when you think of Jedi, that's what I would like to see them be able to do, not just stand there.
You're not a Jedi yet.
It's like, you know, Obi-Wan is whacking a pinata is what it looked like.
Yeah.
That's tough to watch when I go back and watch it now, but I'm just so nostalgic. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
great.
Ewok sets in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ewoks. Actually, you know what? I might actually have one of the Star Wars games in my collection. I think it's Shadow of the Empire, which is actually canon in the Star Wars the Star Wars story. Yeah, you play as a Jedi like that's friends with Han's Solo. Like it takes place like I mean when I was a kid like there was so many Star Wars books and stuff like there was so much stuff that I mean I actually liked reading more than I did anything. And
Yeah.
I think I had one of the Star Wars books. I don't remember what it was, but it followed the story of Anakin, and as he grew up, and you sort of see him slowly turn into, Darth Vader. Like when like that's basically what the story, like the books do. They sort of tie in things together to make it make sense.
Right.
And yeah,
with Star Wars, the most recent the trilogy that came out, I'm not a fan of.
me neither.
Um, I think all they had to do was just go off of Timothy Zahn's books, the Heir to the Empire. Just go off the Legends canon, make those books a movie, and they would be a hit.
Hmm.
They really messed up, and they're
It,
trying
it
to
was mainly politics, I think.
and they did. As a kid, seeing Luke Skywalker,
Hmm.
he was a role model, like somebody. Oh, I want to be Luke Skywalker, and then to
Mark
see the
Hamill.
treatment, right, and to see the treatment that he got, in the Last Jedi, and
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know,
like an afterthought.
it's just tough to watch, man, and to
Yeah.
after all that Luke went through, and to see him turn on Ben like that is just that's crazy. Like Luke is all about redemption. Like he never gave up on his father, being redeemed.
Hmm.
So why would he give up or think Ben just because he has a dream or a nightmare? It's
Yep.
just I don't know. It's those movies are tough.
Yeah,
to
the
watch.
sequel trilogy is Imperial propaganda.
Yeah. It gave me a new appreciation for the prequels. I'll say that because
Yeah.
most people crap on the prequels.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, prequels are great in comparison.
So you have more appreciation for Jar Jar?
Oh yeah, Jar Jar. I
Jar
love
Jar?
Jar Jar.
Ah.
Jar Jar's secretly the Sith.
So subtle.
He's a Sith Lord. You just didn't know it.
Yeah. Or yeah.
There's a lot of fan theories that say that. So
Yeah, but I
it'd be
mean, I guess if they thought that I was gonna get into Star Wars with these newer movies, yeah, no, I'm not buying it.
yeah.
And now they're trying to ruin characters like Lando, you know, and Hans, like you saw the Solo movie, didn't you?
Ugh,
Spinoff.
yeah, that's tough to watch.
Yeah, and they ruined Chewbacca. Yeah, it's worse than the Christmas special.
Oof, I don't know. Seeing Chewie's family, that's weird, man. That was
Come on,
weird.
come on.
Whew.
I mean, that's a
Um,
classic, obviously.
yeah,
Jar
I,
Jar
I
was
mean,
my first crush. Oh gosh. A
no,
New Hope first originated came out in 1977 to ingrown in the 80s, 1980s. Uh, Darth Plagueis isn't dead.
Darth Plagueis. That is
Plagueis.
that's
Plagueis.
Sidious. That's Sidious's master, who he
Ah,
taught him how to manipulate the Force and have eternal life,
ouch.
essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like in tune with Star Wars because I haven't watched. I haven't actually sat down and watched all the movies through. To actually sit and appreciate them. I just couldn't get into them. I mean, I watched some of the clips and stuff, and I do want to watch it, but I never just sat down and watched it because
Yeah,
I guess I was just into other things. Like, I was actually into Stargate. You
yeah,
remember that?
I
Stargate
do.
SG-1?
You won. Yeah.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah. Did you like Dune?
Yeah,
I like Dune too.
I like Doom.
The now that remake wasn't too bad. I still like the original better, but the
Yeah,
Dune remake, or at least the first half of it,
yeah,
wasn't too bad.
the original Doom.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Patrick Stewart was in the original Dune.
Uh, I don't know what else we could talk about. I mean,
Dude, I can talk about stuff all day. Just
well,
say something.
I don't want to waste your time though. I know you
Um,
got a con to plan.
I do, yeah, and it's going to be pretty awesome. I think we have some amazing
MacGyver.
ideas. Some
Oh, yeah, MacGyver. Oh my
oh,
gosh,
McGovern.
I gotta mention this MacGyver. My mom actually thinks that Vic was MacGyver. That's what she actually thought. She said he
I
looks
I
just like
see the
MacGyver.
comparison. Yeah, I can see that.
And Vic actually he said he's met the guy that played at MacGyver.
Yeah,
And my mom, she said, I swear he looks just like him.
that's awesome.
Vic's mom loves me to death. By the way, she loves my art and everything. And
Mhm.
I was gonna actually ask you something.
Yeah,
So while I have you on here, so we talked about this at the con. About like you gave me that comic book, which I unfortunately lost it.
okay.
And I'm sorry I lost it. I was
You're
at
good.
I was at a hotel room, like,
Uh-huh.
and I had it out, and like I was reading it, and I left it on the table, and you know, like, are there like we were talking about this, about like one of these days, like once I have merchandise and stuff and a big following, that maybe I could have my own booth and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a dream of mine to have one day.
yeah,
I mean, not right now, but sometime in the future.
yeah.
But
I
what do you
mean,
think of that?
so I mean, in all reality, we just to kind of this is convention terminology.
Yeah,
Okay, uh, you can have like what's called a fan table, um, or a promotional table. Even now, if you wanted to bring some equipment, pop a table up. It's a free table. It's in our main. You would be set up like in our main hallway, like outside
yeah,
of the vendor hall there. Um, you'd set a table up, and you could promote your stuff and do live feeds while you're there.
yeah,
And that's typically where you would, maybe ask the celebrities to come and have a seat beside you, and you can do an interview and record. People do
yeah.
that all the time. Podcasters and yeah. I mean, so that's something, yeah, that could easily be done if you ever wanted to do that. And I've got
I
another
mean,
comic book here, by the
all
way.
right, all right. Fear is mind killer. Fear is the
Mhm.
mind killer. Exactly. It is. And I guess I just always been afraid to do something like that because like I always thought that I wasn't big enough, I didn't have a big audience or anything. Like I thought, people didn't care. But now that my channel has grown this big and everything, I always thought to myself, you know what? I need to stop doing that. I need to set my expectations higher. And I think that, I need to, just suck it up and, just do it.
Well, just try to remove any negativity or self-doubt, right? Just stay positive and know that, hey, regardless of the outcome of what I'm doing, I love doing it.
Exactly.
Right. And that's my thing with the convention. Regardless of the outcome, I love doing it. Regardless of if I lose money or break even or make money, I love doing it. So I'm going to keep doing it, right? Because I love doing it. If you love doing something, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
You love it, so you do it. And and just be confident in it too.
Oh yeah.
And then it'll show. And people will feed off of that, and they'll know, like, hey, even though I don't like what he talks about, he loves it. He's passionate about it. He knows his stuff. That's one thing too. Be knowledgeable about what you're talking about, right? Because otherwise people will pick up on that and they'll see through it. So if you're going to do something, do it right. Like, give it your all, right? And put everything into it. And then if it fails, it fails. If it succeeds, it succeeds. And keep your head up high regardless.
Thank you, Dojin. I appreciate that. He says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I say do any and everything you love. Man.
Yep.
I appreciate that. That's good advice.
And don't ever let anyone get you down.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you coming on here and, talking to everybody,
Yeah.
And, this has just been fun. That's all I want to do. I just want to have fun with whatever, I mean, I get excited about some of these things, and I want to make it perfect and everything. And, unfortunately, I mean, we didn't get to, start at the time that I wanted to, but it all worked out.
It does. Things happen for a reason, and it is what it is. And we started late, but it's still a good show. Had some good conversation. Talked about the convention, talked about your channel, talked about things that we're both into. Interacted with the audience and just had fun doing it. Whether 2 people saw it or 2 million, I'd do it either way, right? That's the thing. It's just fun. It's fun talking with someone who has similar interests or who's like-minded or who's, not like-minded even, because then you can get into some debate like the Star Trek, Star Wars, like which is the superior fandom, or like Superman, the Superman versus Goku thing comes to mind. Like, who would win in a fight? Me personally, Goku would destroy Superman with a snap. It would be as easy as that.
Yeah.
But this is what it's all about. It's fun, intellectual conversation, just sitting down, 2 people having a good time. I just wish I wasn't at work and would call.
Oh, I feel you, Dojin. I do. I mean, my job isn't the best job, but I enjoy working. The job that I work at. I mean, there's good people there, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
Right.
And, my mom, she had a great time, and I that means more to me than anything.
Yeah.
Everyone, please go and show PC and Metrotham Con some love. They absolutely deserve it. Oh, yeah. Show Metrotham Con some love. I get enough love. But, yes, if you guys, you know, I'm gonna make an announcement video about it. You know, when I have that all set up and try to figure out how to do it. I'm gonna. I mean, like you said, you know, it's if whoever wins out of this raffle that I'm doing, you know, they get a VIP, right?
Mm-hmm. And autograph from a
Whoever they want.
celebrity guest.
Which honestly, I you know, I don't see any reason why people shouldn't go to this. Why they wouldn't
I,
want to.
I don't either. It's one of those things where if you want to go and have a good time, um, be with other people that are like minded and are into similar things. If you like cosplay, there's something for you. If you like music, there's something for you. If you like anime, there's something for you. If you like 80's, there's something for you. If you just like going and seeing celebrities and getting autographs and you know reselling memorabilia, there's something for you. You know, if you like vendors, got a bunch of them, some really good ones. You know, there's just stuff for everybody, and it's going to be fun.
The games looks beautiful. What?
I don't know.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, I just want to give back to people. You know, I just want to give them something to look forward to. And if you can't show up, then, you know, just show support by just, you know, going to their Facebook page and watching their live streams, which I'm
Just
sure
like
you'll be. I mean, you'll be doing a virtual thing like you did last year, right?
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's almost like you're there.
Yep. We'll be going live, you know, while we're there.
Yep. I know I will be. Hey, Mark, real quick, are you still selling T-shirts?
We got this one available currently.
I need the episode 2 T-shirt.
The Revenge of the 80's logo. Now we will have some con exclusive that has the artwork. It's our and again the artwork is amazing. It's I'm trying to think. It's Big Trouble in Little China meets Terminator, Star Wars, Akira, Alien, Back to the Future. It's a nice little, you know, hodgepodge of 80's pop culture stuff. It's amazing.
That's what
and
I
it's going to be on. It'll be on the shirt, so that's a con exclusive. That'll be at the con. It'll be $20.
What about that television? Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about that.
Oh yeah, so not only are tickets weekend admission, it's only $20. VIP is only $40. But you could also win a TV. We're currently doing that promotion. So if you do a basic weekend badge, get you one entry in to win the TV. If you do a VIP, get you two. If you do a forever badge, it'll get you 5. We'll do 5 entries. Yeah, we're giving away a TV. We'll probably do some more things like that where I give away some of my signed memorabilia that I'm looking at over there.
I wish I had some stuff to give away. I don't. I mean, I could buy you a ticket to the show that ever they like. That's all I could do. I can't pay your way there, unfortunately. I mean, my measly $200 check won't get me there. I have to keep saving, which that's what I've been doing. I've been saving my money. But I mean, that's what I'm gonna try to do for one lucky person. If you really want to go, and I mean, I'll make a video about it, how to enter it and everything. I mean, obviously you have to be subscribed to the channel, you know, and like the videos and comment. That's the only way, you know, because I don't want just one person like that isn't subscribed or hasn't commented to just, you know, enter just for that, you know. I mean, I'm trying to build a community, you know, and I want interaction. Interaction is the key to running a successful channel. Like, people think that to be a successful channel, you have to have millions of subscribers and everything like that. But if you honestly think about it, like even someone with 1 million subscribers, how many people actually watch their content? Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, especially with algorithms and different things like that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
the
the true audience will, like I said on Twitter, I said the true audience will stick around. That's the best advice I could give anybody who wants to grow like me, which I'm growing fast. I am, but you know, it you just got to show yourself, present yourself. Quality over quantity. Exactly. Here, a drink to Mark and PC. But thank you, Mark, for taking your time.
Thank you. I mean, we're all in it together. We're all part of the same community. So.
Oh yeah, and hopefully.
Anytime you want me to come back on, or you know, we can just talk about horror movie, whatever you want to talk about.
We can just shoot the crap. Shoot the shit. Yeah.
Shoot the beep.
Which honestly, I'm actually thinking about bringing that back. You know, talking about movies. You know, because that's what I did when I first started this channel. Like I was doing live streams of movies that we've watched and review it in that format. Yeah. But I mean, I'd love to have you back on this channel anytime.
Yeah. Just let me know. I'll be here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead and plug yourself.
All right. Coming to Metrotham Con, Episode 3, Revenge of the 80s, May 13th through the 15th, 2022 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at the Chattanooga Convention Center. It's going to be an awesome, nostalgic ride, blast to the past, back to the 80s. We've got all kinds of events planned for you guys throughout the weekend. Amazing 80s themed panels, live music, celebrity guests, so many vendors, so many giveaways. You know we love giveaways. We're giving away all kinds of stuff throughout the weekend. We got our VIP giveaway. We give away up to it's $1,000 worth of memorabilia, like statues, signed prints, figurines, all kinds of different stuff. And then just come out and have a good time.
Oh yeah.
See my friend PC here. He's going to be there. I'll be there. I'll be running around like crazy.
But you're always running around. Like it's hard to catch up. Like it's hard to catch up with Mark. Like if you would have talked to him, like he's always busy. Like I've asked so many people. I was like, Mark, is he here? You know, he's somewhere with a guest, or you know, you're doing something. You're a busy man, and I appreciate and admire you for that. You're my hero.
I stay busy with this stuff throughout the year. We put a lot of energy and effort into it. My staff's amazing. I couldn't do it without them. And again, it's a family. So if you guys want to come have fun, enjoy a convention, 3-day show, kids 12 and under are free. So bring the family out. That's a nice little know, extra. Passes right now are $20 online for a weekend badge, 40 for VIP. We're giving away a TV. Check us out. Our merch store this year is going to be phenomenal. We're starting to grow that, so we'll have
merchandising.
Yeah. We'll have 3 different T-shirts to choose from this year. We'll have buttons, cups. You know, all kinds of little things that we'll have in our merch store. Signed prints from past guests and other
Tiger Electronics. I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
Wristwatch stuff.
Right. But it's going to be a good time for everybody, and you know we're all inclusive. I want everyone to come and have fun and be safe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and go to metrothamcon.com to get your tickets. It's under our new shop tab, and just be on the lookout for celebrity guest announcements coming up. There's several of them in the pipeline coming. Our different entertainment that we're going to announce will be coming out soon. We're going to have an app this year. So it'll have the schedule, celebrity guests. There's a meetup option on there. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have an app, makes it a little easier to know when and where things are happening. And let's see, just tune in to Metrotham Con Live every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live. Sometimes we miss, life kind of gets in the way, or somebody gets sick and we got to kind of reschedule and move things around. But we try to stay pretty consistent with that.
And like I said, if you guys ever need help anyway, I'd love to help. I'll do whatever I have to make sure people know.
We appreciate, and that's the thing. Just word of mouth is huge, right? You tell a friend, they tell a friend, they tell their two friends, their aunt, uncle, cousin, and then that's how we grow it. And then we can say that we created this thing together.
Oh yeah, and we're
not
a family.
Just my baby. Yeah, it's true.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream. Obviously, subscribe to the channel. Go check out Metrotham Con. I'll have everything linked in the description because I always do that. And I know a lot of people probably don't check out the description, but if you want to, I'll have it. I'll have it there.
Check out the description.
Yes, read the description. No questions asked. Read the description. Go follow them on Facebook. That's the best way to not miss out on anything. Because you guys post on there like every day something, and that's the thing. We're trying to build both of our communities up, and that's what I hope to do. So it's no problem. No problem at all, my friend. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. This has been PC signing off. And I'll see you all in the next video.
Peace.